welcome to Try Right. Today, coming to exceptions, let's know about custom exceptions. Built-in exceptions like illegal argument exception, null pointer exceptions may not clearly describe your business logic. Custom exceptions makes our code more readable and domain specific. Now coming to how to create custom exceptions. First, we should know how to create custom exceptions. Then only we can create the exceptions. Now coming to these custom exceptions, how to create them. First, we should extend the exceptions or runtime exceptions class. We should extend the exception or runtime exception class. Now use exception. For checked exceptions must be handled or declared. For checked exceptions, they must be handled and declared. Or use runtime exception. For unchecked exceptions, like while they are running their issue, it can be a runtime exception. It is a runtime exception. So for unchecked exceptions, optional to handle them. Checked exception must be caught or declared. The compiler enforces handling of such. Checked exception must be handled or declared as compiler enforces handling of such. The best practice we could use for checked exceptions are use checked exceptions for recoverable conditions, and secondly we should use checked exceptions for programming bugs, that is invalid logic. Now we should go over throw and throws in Java, as that will help us in finding more exceptions if it is checked or not checked. The throw keyword is an exception object that is used for inside a method. It requires single exception object. Throws IO exception, like throws IO exception will throw single object, and it throws only single exception. Throws exception tells or throws exceptions that method might throw an exception. It tells that method might throw an throws exception tells method might throw an exception. It is usually in method signature. It's a list of multiple exceptions. I told you already that it throws exception. It throws a number of exceptions. It's actually a list of exception classes. Throws IO exception. It will throws IO exceptions. Now let's perform tasks to understand it clearly. Now let's perform a task to understand. So we'll be going to Eclipse, and for these programs we will be performing there. We'll be going to Eclipse. First is the age validator. There is a program called age validator. You have the age validator. The class name is age validator, and we should import a scanner class for this, for inputting the age. If the age is less than 18, it throws an exception. Underage exception, it throws exception. If the age is less than 18, it throws new exception. Throw new. It will throw a new exception. It will throw a exception as underage exception. Else system.println access granted, you are eligible. Else if you are greater than 18, you are eligible. Now if we run this program, enter age. Suppose I entered my age is 17. If I entered 17, 17 enter. Exception was caught. Access denied. Your age must be 18-year-old. So coming on to the main class. So for this coming on to the main class, we have the scanner class for system input, for the system input of the age, and try block will catch the exception. Try block system dot enter the age. Try block. If age is scanner dot int, we are entering the age and validating the age. For validating the age, we are validating the age. Validate age. Age is this one will validate the age. It may throw an exception. It may throw an exception. Because if age is greater than 18, it won't throw an exception. For this catch block is also there, undergo exception, and the basic exception reference E, and system.println exception dot e the reference dot get message. It will finally throw, and or the exception E. Exception other exception is invalid input. If the entered is will be not be a numbers numerical form. Suppose in string form, if we entered something in string form, that will throw invalid input. मतलब invalid input, yeah. And finally it will execute anyhow. If we throw exception or doesn't throw exception, this will perform anyhow. So now coming on to, let's enter an age greater than 18. Suppose my age is 21st. Yeah, yeah. Access granted. You are eligible. Access granted. It was access denied. And for age greater than 18, age greater than 18, access granted. You are eligible. And finally block is processing anyhow. Now let's enter a string. Enter a string. See, invalid input. This expression, invalid input, and e dot get message. This is showing e dot get message. E is a reference and get message is showing null. For similarly, we will go to the underage exception. Now in underage exception, this that thing. For this underage exception, for this, if you are entering less than 18, which I entered 17, yeah, suppose which I entered 17. Now again 17. Now again I will enter 17. Let's run the program. 17, yeah, 17, enter. Oh, yes, yeah, sorry. If I entered A17, yeah, exception access denied, must be 18 years old. Now let's go to this underage exception. Yeah, here exception, it will throw an exception. If the underage exception, it will throw an exception. And the public underage exception, that is a string message, that is throwing a string message, and super dot message, that is the main super. It will call the immediate parent class. Which is the immediate parent class. This age validator, it is the immediate parent class. And here whatever the exception is there, that will be thrown. Yeah, here the exception, whatever the exception is there, it will be thrown. Public underage exception, string message, super dot message, super, the message present in the super, that will be thrown here. Yeah, so for the A17 is 17. Yeah, similar. Super, what is the super class? Yeah, immediate super class is this is the immediate super class, and it is throwing an exception underage. This is the immediate super class, underage exception for that exception class. Underage exception, this one is also underage exception, and this one is the immediate parent class underage exception, and this one is the message being shown here. Yeah, access denied. You must be at least 18 years old. Yeah. Now finally block finally executed. Now coming on to this grade validator. Now grade validator, if it will perform the same way. The grade validator is a class, and we are taking the grade, and it will this is grade validator. This throws for number of exception, it will throws invalid grade exception, which will be going up to this class. For this we are taking the string valid grades as these are the grades A B C D F. These are the valid grades, and if the boolean is valid, is the boolean form, and its object or the boolean class, it will be representing false. It is representing invalid is false. If string that G, the grade you are inputting is valid grade is equals to case grade class. This equals ignore case grade. Yeah, valid is equal to true, break. Now the valid boolean invalid is false. For string, matlab valid grade, valid grade that is present in G, if that grade matches equal to G, is equal to ignore case. It will compare this, and the grade present is that, and the is going to be true, and the program will break afterwards. Yeah, if invalid, if is valid, if is valid, if not valid, yeah, it's exclamation mark here. If not valid, is valid. That's what I was saying. If not, if not is valid means if this is valid is not true, then it will throw exception. This will throw exception. It will throw exception and invalid grade, e.g. System dot else system dot print grade accepted else tag. This will perform and the grade are accepted. And this will be the main class. This will be the main class for this. This will be the main class. This will be the main class for this strike as block. These are the main class. Yeah. Here we are making use of cannot take the input of the to the system of the grade for the various grades. And now say string grade, string dot next line for the and dot trim for that. What we call trim? We remove the space, blank spaces. And trim is for removing the black space, and next line for taking the grade as in string value. And is validate grade, yeah, validate grade, this will validate the grade. Catch invalid grade e in system.println error e dot get message. If the if it calls if this grade be other than this, then it will catch an exception, then it will catch an exception, and this catch block will perform at that point of time. Yeah, and the catch will throw an exception, which will be in the reference of e dot get message. Finally we will get e dot get, or it will throw an invalid. If the suppose if we entered a number, that will throw invalid exception, and it will throw exception. If we enter a string other than this and unexpected, that will throw a message here. Finally, what will happen in valid grade B exception? Yeah, this will be invalid grade exception, but that this will be if other than A B C D E F, they are showing other than this, then it will extend exception class and will form exception class this invalid grade which is having the exception, which is forming the exception in the form of string message, and the message will be thrown in the form of the superclass dot message. Superclass dot message means this one. Yeah, which class is it? Yeah, superclass is valid exception. Yeah, superclass dot super message is valid exception for the is valid exception. We have made the classes is valid exception here, and this one is valid exception. It will show the exception among these. Yeah, it will catch exception and it will show the exception among these. Now for running the program, now let's run this program. Yeah, the grade should be among these only. If suppose I threw capital A, yeah, the grade accepted. If I will throw suppose Z, capital Z, let's throw capital Z here. This is invalid input because I haven't entered anything here, so invalid grade entered because there is nothing as input values. Yeah, and now let's show Z, shift Z. Yeah, invalid grade Z. See, invalid grade Z, invalid grade input, graded grade validation completed. That is the final block. Invalid grade because Z does not belong to this. And now let's throw A1 first. An integer value. Let's throw integer value. Suppose 7. Yeah, C. Invalid grade entered. And this one is the finally block. Error invalid grade. This one. Invalid grade entered was through this e dot get message. Suppose I am not entering any e dot. Yeah. Now we have known how to handle the exception also. Yeah. Oh, thanks.